Sound design. Welcome to Sound Design Live, the home of the world's best online training in sound system tuning that you can do at your own pace from anywhere in the world. I'm Nathan Lively, and today I'm joined by the Director of System Optimization at Meyer Sound and the author of Sound Systems, Design and Optimization, Bob McCarthy. Now, the last time I talked to Bob McCarthy, we looked at small systems in small rooms. So today we're going to be looking at bigger systems in bigger rooms in big outdoor spaces. In these outdoor spaces, we're going to be looking at line array and subwoofer array placement and aim. If you'd like to look at some images and download the designs that we're talking about today, you can do that at the link below this video. Tell me about a show that you've been to recently for fun.
A show that I've been to recently for fun. Oh boy. Well, the the most interesting thing that I've done is go to this. There's a movie that was done by Lord of the Rings guy, Peter Jackson. There's World War I footage. He was given 100 hours of World War I footage and told to restore it. And so he restored it, got all the frame rates right. He removed all the scratches of 100 years because it's the 100-year anniversary of World War I.
Oh, wow.
And then went and researched all the uniforms of everybody and colored the film. Yes, even went to the battlefields and researched the colors of the buildings and the things that are still there and the landscape. And so basically, and then they added audio where they took forensic lip readers. They could see what the people were saying. seriously hardcore. And so they would go, if it was a regiment from Glasgow, they would get somebody from that area that had that authentic accent, and then they dubbed on the words to it. It's called They Shall Not Grow Old. It's a special showing film, and if you get a chance to see it, it's just amazing because you really get all of a sudden, for the first time, the World War I people are not like a comedy, like they're just absolutely real people, and you can see the fear in their eyes. You can see the whole thing. It's just wow.
Sounds intense.
Yeah, very intense.
Wow. Okay.
And then the other big thing was going to Antarctica. I spent 3 weeks in Antarctica.
Oh yeah, you told me a little bit about that.
That's an amazing show. And you want to hear some
amazing show?
Sound. Yes, want to hear some amazing sound. The sound of a zero human noise floor. No planes overhead. No hum of a distant highway. None of that. Just the sound of the wind, the sound of birds, the sounds of penguins, the sound of whales.
Wow, I don't think I've ever heard that low a noise floor in my life. Probably most people haven't.
Yes, exactly. And that was really shocking. And here's the thing you learn about audio-wise. When you're whale watching, you know how you know when a whale is surfaced?
No.
When you hear that's the sound of 50 cameras clicking. It's like, okay, the cameras are all clicking. Where is it?
That's good.
Everybody's leaning over the side of the ship, and when all the cameras go, that's the time. But literally, we got close enough to hear the whales, and that's quite an amazing thing. And I got close enough to too close to a fur seal. I almost collided into him in my kayak, and he gave me a big, nice, loud piece of audio and really bad fish breath.
Yeah. Awesome. Now you sent me some good photos of this. Maybe we'll be able to post some of the penguins. I don't know how you would with all of your clothes and gloves on, but did you record any of the sound? Or the lack of sound?
I did bring a little hand recorder.
Okay.
And I did record one of the penguin rookeries, and it's really pretty noisy from wind. because that's the thing that you rarely got quiet in terms of the wind.
Sure.
And our ears are able to sort of deal with that better than microphones.
That's too bad, because I was hoping then I could ask you, what is the favorite music you've been listening to recently? And you'd say this, and you'd just play that.
Uh-huh.
All right, Bob. Well, one of the most popular things you and I have ever done together is looking at some people's designs. And there's just nothing like seeing designs through someone else's eyes who has had different design and professional experience than you, and saying, hey, have you thought about this? So we're doing that again today, except we're going to look at some of your designs first, and then maybe look at a couple of other designs that people in the Sound Design Live audience have sent in. So I think if you're ready, we should go ahead and dive into looking at your first design that you were going to share with us.
I'm going to take you to Denmark, to the Roskilde Festival. Roskilde Festival is, it takes place in Roskilde, Denmark, which has been going on since 1971. It's a nonprofit organization.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's an amazing organization. It has 130,000 people come to this thing. It's 7 days of music total, 3 days of kind of pre-festival, and 4 days of the full festival. They have 30,000 volunteers who, in exchange for volunteering, get to attend the shows. So it's a family tradition. You literally have parents and children, and you have parents that were there with their parents. And literally, you can completely see this. We were in charge of all 8 music venues.
8 music venues. Wow.
8 music venues, yeah. And 2 of them operate before the festival starts. Before it's the full festival, basically they play to the outside camping area. It's a way to bring people in gradually, so you don't have the Woodstock, everybody clogs the roads all on one day situation. So they do a 3-day soft start and get a lot of the people there. And so those, I'm going to show you now. Here's the festival overall. This rising stage and the countdown stage here are outside of the festival grounds in these to entertain all the camping area. This is camping here, and that's camping there. If you can see my cursor. Mm-hmm. And then these are the venues, these tents. There's another one, the big arena tent there, and the orange stage. And this is the first one I'm going to get into, is the orange stage, which is where the big headliners are. We could get up to 110,000 people to attend shows at the orange stage. Over here is the arena, which is a tent, and it's called the arena for a reason. It can hold 18,000 people in the tent. That's a big tent. So it's a big tent. Avalon, I think, holds about 5 or 6, and 2 or 3 in the pavilion. And then this is the Apollo stage, which is a EDM disco music environment. And then the Gloria stage, where our friend Magoo was in charge of things, is sort of an artsy fartsy place.
His specialty.
There were acts there that were just left your head scratching, going, okay, somebody likes that.
What was it like walking around there? Is it just chaos, and you can hear all stages when you walk in between them?
Well, they do leakage is certainly an issue, and they do try to time things somewhat to minimize the leakage issues. Like these 2 venues, this guy plays on even hours and this guy plays on odd hours. But the EDM stage is it's an unstoppable, thing. It's going all the time. Mm-hmm. And this stage had what we call the VLFC, which is our super subsonic subwoofer that goes down to 13 hertz. And you could, after you left the arena stage and you were here, you are 800 meters away, and you could totally feel the LFC pulse from this stage.
That's
standing
awesome.
there. It's pretty amazing. And it never was a problem inside the arena, or if the arena show was playing, it was never an issue because it's in a range that there's really nothing else going on. But it's just like suddenly you notice like my heart is beating. It's like, oh no, that's not your heart. That's this heart that's beating. So the orange stage has, we'll get into it, but it's got delay towers and it fills this whole lawn. And that, of course, can spill into this. One of the things that helps is there are buildings here. Those buildings are selling you beer and food and crap that you don't need. But that's what's going on there. So there is some break in the it's not just a straight, flat, uninterrupted plane.
Got it.
So there's some breakup. So I'm going to take you to the orange stage, which is the biggest of the stages. It's this one right here. And we had the system that was there is called the Leo system. Those were our mains. And we had Lions for delays. The 1100 LFC did our low end, and we had Leopards doing front fills and some of the smaller delays, and various other little fill speakers and stage monitors. But basically, the big lifting and the systems that I'm going to go through, the big boys, are the Leo, the Lion, the 1100s, and the Leopards. Okay, so you can see now left and right mains. There's inner and outer mains. There's your orange stage. And these are all crowd control barriers, and you are up on top of a delay tower. That's your location right now. And there's a microphone that you see here, if you look carefully. And what in the heck is that? Well, that's a weather monitoring device.
Got it.
In addition to providing the sound, we're also in a cooperative relationship with the festival doing acoustic research with the University of Denmark. And so what we did was in this case, we put microphones up and down that delay tower, and we were able to measure the wind gradients and how they bent the sound by having a set of 6 or 8 microphones spread over a 20-meter height.
Interesting.
Pretty interesting. Yes, indeed.
Very cool.
And so they measured. They were monitoring the wind speed and the and the temperature, both up high and down below. Okay, that was conducted. That research was done by Roger Swenke, who you might know from MythBusters, and he's our chief scientist.
Cool.
At Meyer Sound. That would be Dr. Roger Swenke to you and to me. Okay, so here is now the plan view, and I sort of just dropped this picture on top of the photograph, and you can see the barriers. And basically, here's our inner mains, our outer mains, which are angled out at about 35 degrees. And then there's front fill spread across. And then there are subwoofers in what's called an end fire array. The front of house is at about 55 meters. There's the right side. It's the front of house is on the right side, in front of the right side PA, and lighting is in front of the house left of the PA. So this now I just expanded, and we can include the delay towers. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's a 5th delay tower in the trees that I'm not showing you right now.
Okay.
And you notice it's asymmetric. There you would think there'd be another delay over here, but there isn't, and that's because there are trees here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and so that basically boxes off our coverage this way. So there's more coverage to the house right side, and that's why we extend out that way.
Okay.
And so there you can see each delay tower, and some of the delay towers were dual purpose. They had both lighting instruments, spotlights, as well as speakers.
And then are those subs an inverted gradient in those delay towers?
That's an inverted stack gradient, yes.
Okay.
And so that allowed us to extend the low frequencies outward without having backflow coming into the front of house or anywhere else. It was really nice because it was one of the really big lessons of this experience was how important it was to not just extend 100 hertz and above, but to extend the whole show.
Okay.
And if you wanted to stay impactful, you had to bring it all the way down to 30 hertz, and that was very important. And to have that capability without causing a destructive backflow was extremely helpful.
Sure.
This is now the main system. And you can see this is the Leo mains here. That's the inner mains. Over here are the outer mains. And you can see these three giant sticks of dynamite.
And we learned from your presentation about the last Metallica tour during Live Sound Summit that you are doing this kind of hang so that you can aim the sound down.
Precisely. In this case, what we wanted to do was to get the experience of subs on the ground, the positive parts of it, without the negative parts. The negative parts are quite obvious. They are that it's 40 dB louder in the front than it is in the back. And when you lift them up, you can really bring that number down to something quite reasonable. But you don't want to have it be that the people near the front feel a lack of impact or feel a lack of being grounded to the all the way down to 30 hertz. And so this stagger delivers the sound down a little more quickly to the floor, and there you go. So you can see there's our end fire array. There's our mains. These are some front fill. We had little front fills in the center that included some subwoofers. And then you pick up the delay system going forward. The delay system was at 75 meters. And so then on it went and covered out into the 160, 180, and even in some cases, 190 meters. Quite extensive. Okay. All right. Where are we now? You should be going by now. Okay, and this is a delay tower. You can see the mains in a typical arc shape there, and then the inverted gradient stack. So that was forward, back, forward, forward, back, forward. Okay, so plus, minus, plus, plus, minus, plus.
Okay,
and on you go. Okay.
Wow, so you made it all the way out to, what did that say? 190 meters?
Yeah, and that's where this is what the picture that I'm showing you shows out there to 190 meters. And if you look carefully, you'll see this white structure there. That is a replica of the Trump wall.
Okay.
It turns out that at Roskilde, they're very political and very, they like to make a statement. So they built a set of replicas. You'll see them again show up, some more pictures. But there are places, there's never enough bathrooms. So one of the things they do is they make walls for people to pee. Mm-hmm. And they thought, okay, we can put two concepts together. They made their statement.
Nice.
Okay. So here's kind of a 3D version, a little orthographic picture there of what we're looking at. All right. I think we can play that. Okay. There it is. So this is a 3D map of the response, showing the uniformity of the response over the course of that. It's pretty cool.
Map 3D, what's that?
Oh, you don't have Map 3D?
I hate you.
Okay. Well, as they say in Jamaica, soon come, man. Soon come.
All right, fine.
Okay. Okay. So let's get this thing started. Here's our install. You're working with Bright Sweden, and there's our team. This is David Vincent. Used to work for Solotech. He's our one of our engineers, and then Frederic from Bright, and then this is Frank from the company that makes the AVB switches called Luminex. So this whole setup was run on AVB. Okay, so these are pretty pictures of the mains. I'm not going to show you too much of that, but basically you do want to see this, where you can see the process of hanging the end fire arrays there.
Sure.
Okay, this is a center fill subarray, and then these are the front fill leopards spread across the stage. Okay, and that is a center fill array, which really did work hard, because the systems are not even in the picture, as you can see here. This really kind of tells it all. So there was the center fill was not just a little run the first 10 rows. That baby had to cover out over 35 meters.
Wow. Okay.
So it's there's your delays. I think we've already talked about that. This is a viewpoint at a distance of 130 meters, and by this point you are already in the delays. And what you notice is that I hung the delays low.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah, those towers look like you could almost go twice as high.
We could go higher. And by the time everything was finished, we actually moved it 1.5 meters higher before we're all done. But we didn't, that's only like where the motor is much more as it went. Basically, you kept it low, which kept the focus. Everybody stayed in the show. Okay, you really linked up. The higher you get, the more you become more unlinked to the performance.
Got it.
Okay, so you're at 130 meters total from the stage. These are at 75 meters. They begin their coverage at about 95. It's sort of when they land. It takes them, a while to land. So that was the plan story there. This is the tuning process here using SIM, and you can see my 8 microphones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wireless microphones to do the SIM work, which is very nice.
You've got MyPro transmitters on there, or is that Electrosonics?
No, that was the MyPro.
Okay.
Yeah. Then this was the photographer asked me to pose here by the stage, and then there was video was running, and what so she kept talking to me, and I finally had to explain to her, look, I'm sorry, but I'm busy.
She's so sad.
Okay. She's so sad. I just had to break her heart. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so this is the view from about the front of house distance. There you are at the front of house range, 55 meters. And it's a beautiful application. Now, there you are from front of the house looking out, and you can see this is the delays, and literally you can see how deep we're covering. Basically, we're covering to the beer line. Okay, so where all that's these structures here are the beer line, and then there are the Trump wall samples.
Got it.
Okay, and oh, there you can really see the wall there. Okay, but there you can see how deep people are, and here you are at a distance of 170 meters, and you can see everyone is fully engaged in the show. There's the delay systems. And you can see these two have the what you call it, the show lights on them.
Okay, I was wondering what that was too.
Yeah. Okay, that's our wonderful team, and there we are. Okay, so let's get into the map files now for this thing. Okay.
How do you have so many instances of map opened? You just gave them all different names?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that way you can run plan views and section views. See, I've got a plan view, and whoops, where's my section view? There's my section view, so that I can just pop between them. This is how this is a normal thing for design, so that this is how you overcome the 2D nature of things.
Sure.
By keeping multiple instances. Okay, so the basic concept of the design is a left-right mains. It's really a mono system, as much as you might want to think otherwise. It's going to be a mono system. Let's get real here. Okay. So there's one side of coverage. Then you can add a second side. Come on, baby. And so there you can see why I needed a center fill. See how there's a a substantial gap there. Now I'm going to add in these guys. That's your sides, and that now rounds us out. And the system, since the system is raised up, remember that you're seeing a 2D rendering. So once the system's raised up, this all becomes uniform at about really at about this distance.
Okay.
So so I was all covered in. There's no gaps anymore by then, and then we start to pick up into the delay systems. The delay systems were the lion system, so and the leopard, which is over here, that has a shorter throw and a wider speaker. And we had Lion W's, which is the wide version of the Lion on the lower part of those arrays, and then the Lion M in the upper part. Okay, so I'm showing you there the Lion W's. Lion M's. You can see our extension of the mains outward. Okay, and so that's the basic sort of division of labor there. Let's show you these subwoofer arrays, which in this plane are quite predictable and normal. So looking now in the section view, what you have now is the main system, and I'll give you sort of a picture of that. In here is the details. It's a total of 16 Leo. That's our most powerful speaker, finished with 2 Lions. The first 11 display angles are 1/2 degree. So basically, it's just one big, giant 5.5 degree speaker there, and then it starts to open up, not by much. It finishes at 2 degrees, and that's where it finishes with the Lion. So it's highly overlapped. It's built for power. But the thing is to understand is that we don't have a big, wide vertical coverage. We're not going up. We're not doing any balconies. We're basically making a a wedge of sound, an inclined plane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so then you look at the situation with the delay, and it's also making an inclined wedge. And what is it doing? Well, it's the lions. It's a total of 15, I think 14, 14 lines. It's 12 M's and 2 W's. 8 of these guys are at half degree, so you're combining to make a 4-degree top, and then you widen out to ones and finally 2 degrees. So
Okay.
again, it's a highly overlapped, and it's built for combined power and to make a beautiful sharp edge at the top.
Mm-hmm.
So when you put them all together, then boom, 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 there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it does not make a perfect, it does not, it does go down a little and then come back up, okay? And that's sort of that's a reality. If I could raise it up higher and get it to have a little bit less of that, but it's really not worth the price because you're going to pull your image up, and it's just basically people make decisions. It's one of the beautiful things about this environment is people can move a little closer if they want it louder. They can move to the range they want. So do I love perfect uniformity? Yes, I do. But we were not unhappy with this. And what you're seeing, of course, here is exactly on the straight line on axis. If you go and look back at the plan view, looking here, you're looking as if you're on this straight line. Well, when you get out to here, then it's a more gradual. For the hotspot that you have here, that hotspot does not carry over here because you've lost a little more on your horizontal here than you've lost with these guys. It's only 8 degrees this way, and it's 30 degrees this way. If you see where that's going.
Yep.
A little bit of the physics there. So you really kind of have to let it warm up there a little bit in order to keep it a constant temperature in the gaps. Okay. These are the things you learn when you do a lot of 2D work and then go out there and measure it.
Okay. Sure.
So, okay. And so that's your basic. So where do we do the timing? Well, the timing is right here. The microphone for the delay setting is right here at the place where the bottom of this guy moves in, where they're the closest to the same level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And every inch that we move, every meter that we move further, there's no inches in this world. As the meters that we move back, you become more and more dominant with this delay system, so that the time offsets become less important. This is the area where they're the most important. Okay, now looking at the delay system, let's put that. I know the delayed subs. There they are, and then we've got to see the main subs. They're too much fun not to see, right? So here, those guys are. I can tell you, everybody that came in and stood there at front of house and looked at that thing with its aim coming right down on the head, it's like, that'll do, mate.
That's funny.
So you see, it just drops down and makes it stays the same level. And I think I can do like a 80 hertz one. We get a really nice uniformity on this guy. There you go. Okay. So you really a very gradual losing. And then when you add in this doctor, out he goes and just continues it onwards. Okay, so so that's the story there in the low end, and that's the basic concept. Let me show you then the center fill. It's a funny thing on the center fill, and I fell victim to my own. You know, you've been doing this a long time, and you think, oh, you got it. And this was kind of the original center fill concept.
Uh-huh.
That looks very normal for that center fill, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And as we were getting close to the build time, I thought, I just got to make sure that I'm going to make it to where the gap closes. So then I did a real careful study of the gap. And here's how you learn to study these things, okay? So you take your main system. Oops, there it is, right there. Okay? And you look at the distance in meters that you have for it to, to get there to the people. And in this case, there you have a distance, oops. And here we have another distance, right? Go away. I'm not threatening you. Okay. So this initial distance is pretty close. It's going to be about 15 meters. And who is it? 15.89 meters. Okay. And this is 31 meters, 31 and a half. Well, when you look at a Leo is about a 65-degree speaker. It's not a 90-degree or 110-degree speaker. So that means that its coverage is about at 15 meters is about 16 meters. Okay, so if you, whoops, not a 63, that's a dumb guy to go with. Let's look at 8 kilohertz. So if you look at this guy and you go, well, where's your 6? You can see my lines are drawn there. This is that's the width there, because it's 2 colors, and that's your 6 dB width. It's like, whoa, baby. And so what you see here is my study revealed this shape that's what it takes before I close the gap.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now you can see it's not a perfect. It's kind of like a home plate. Well, because at the bottom of the array are the Lion W's, which are quite wide, but then it goes to the Leos, and we have to wait. They finally make the gap. So this center fill can't be finishing down in here where I originally had it. Yeah. It's got to finish. Holy God, we have a destination. You have to make it to the 39, almost 40 meters in front of the stage. Holy crap.
Wow.
Okay. So you can see our original concept, which I'm going to go back to and embarrass myself. Oops, the original concept, which was this guy. You can see he doesn't even make it to 20 meters.
Okay, sure.
Okay, now we'll go ahead to and take a shot of it, and you see just how off this was. It's like buried into the ground. Whoa, baby, hold on. And so I said at the very last minute, I said, whoa, change the plans. This is where it goes. And look at this. I've got a speaker aimed all the way out to the 50 meter point,
sure,
in order to get coverage to 40 meters, which you're going to see right now. And there you see now my coverage finishes at 40 meters.
Excellent.
And so we made the wedge there, and it's a beautiful thing because the transition point was right in this area here, where all of the this was the emergency pathways and stuff. And so I could go there and monitor, and was like, okay, yep, we filled this gap in.
I
I was
see.
able to really walk this during the show, and and verify that that was happening.
And
Now there's
it's a
go ahead.
funny shape because with that shape, you would need sort of an inverted speaker that gets narrower as it gets farther away if you wanted to perfectly fill that shape. But
Exactly.
speakers get more wide as they get farther away with their coverage.
Exactly. It's actually, yeah, it's a funny thing. You want a speaker that is absolutely physically impossible in the real world. And so it's pretty magical. But of course, what that tells you is that you have to think about that. Whereas here, I need that leopard to do full lifting. It's like the mains have abandoned us. But by here, I'm only 3 dB. I only need to supplement 3, supplement 2, supplement 1, supplement 1/2.
Right, right. Uh-huh.
So I go ahead and let it fade in there because I've only got a little bit of gap I need to fill. So that's why you see there that you don't see the kind of like me trying to do a super pinpoint high beam there, because that
Mhm.
I'm letting that fade, because the down here in front is where I need that speaker to be fully engaged. He's to put it in Star Wars term, you're our only hope, Senator Juan Kenobi. Okay, and so that's the story there. So there was an interesting lesson in the delays, and that was whoops. So this lesson here in the delays is that you can set the level for uniformity, but then when the crowd comes in, that has to be reevaluated. And you normally think, okay, when the crowd comes in, the acoustics change, blah, blah, blah. Of course, it's outdoors. The acoustics really aren't changing very much. It does change a little bit because you get fooled when you're listening to a completely flat ground plane.
Mhm.
It bounces a coherent echo up there and gives you a louder perceived loudness.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
So that can trick you. So that's a couple dB right there. So that will go away once the bodies come in. But the main thing is that as people come in, the noise floor goes up.
Oh, sure.
Okay. And down here, it's kind of down here in all of the barricaded area where people had fought to get in there and come early and all that. I mean, people were fully engaged in watching the show, but there's this weird I shouldn't say unspoken, because it's very much spoken rule, and that is the further you get back towards the beer line, people feel like it's just normal just to carry on a conversation during the entire concert.
Sure.
So the noise floor at the back just gets crazy.
Noise
And
floor gets higher, the sound level gets lower.
exactly.
Fighting.
So you end up having to tip the thing. Your level wise, you have to over exaggerate this thing as and push it a little deeper past normal uniformity in order to sort of get the over the ambient noise. So
Interesting. So you did the optimization, and then once there were actually humans there and it was full of 110,000 people, then you had to make some adjustments.
absolutely. And so you have to get out there and 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 you have to basically have communication contact with front of house and make some small adjustments.
Sure.
Basically, during the daytime, a lot less people were there, and we would run them at a lower level. And then, as the big headliners came on, the level would creep up as the night went on.
And although you have wireless microphones, I guess you're not running out there with the microphone. You're just listening and saying, hey.
You're listening, Stanley, because you can't get good enough data out there, because guess why? There's friggin' noise floor.
Right. Okay.
Or should I call it the beer floor?
Yeah.
Okay. The
Anything
booze.
else that you noticed from your designs and then implementing them there, changes you had to make once you actually got into the field?
We um, the we were super happy with the power capability and the display here of the mains. That worked out really well. And the aims of these guys, for the most part, we're going to touch this tower up a little bit. We were happy with the distance of the towers. We might move them in about 5 meters just to soften that little vulnerability that I talked to you about. Mm-hmm. I think I showed. Whoops, where was that? That's here. I just, that little soft belly here. I wouldn't mind if we can do that. Now we have to compromise and keep the lighting people happy, but I think 5 meters won't hurt anybody. And we clearly saw that these guys were capable of getting the full throw that we needed. Another really funny little thing, and this was quite amazing. This bowl slowly rises up, and that was, the modeling that we had. We did not have accurate modeling of the incline, and the original trim height. Okay, at my original trim height, if you were standing, you were just tall enough to get to the top boxes, and you have to see the top boxes to get the high end from the top boxes. And what we found is there's a road that goes out there, and I'm going to show you this road. Oh no, I can't show you the road here, but it basically is a road at the 140 meter mark, and the road has drainage. Okay, so any road, you think a road is flat. Well, the road has actually got a little bit of a humpback at the center of the road. And you could see everybody would stand at the center of the road, and then 1 foot behind them was where everybody would walk. Because at the center of the road, you were just that inch taller than the people in front of you.
Sure.
But 1 foot behind you, you were short. Okay. And so we realized that the array was just barely skimming, so that tall people were blocking the short people.
Oh, man.
And we raised it 1 meter and turned it 1.5 degrees down. We got the same coverage, but we got it to skim over the tops of the heads, and boom, we kept our imaging and kept our uniformity, but managed to get over the tall people's heads. So
nice work.
It was just like all the little things that you learn from these things, little fine tunes, and I'm happy to be humbled as long as we just keep improving it, and that's where you go.
Excellent. And the shows went well?
Oh, the shows went well, yeah.
Great. So Paul from Lima, Peru sent us in a design that he's working on for a show he is coming up at the Jockey Plaza, which I looked up, which is some kind of big, giant shopping mall, and they have a space outside right next to this shopping mall, and they're going to have a big show there. And he's working on that, and it makes sense that we look at that now because it has some similarities with Bob's design that we just looked at. So Paul wrote in, he said he's concerned about the location, and I believe the number of boxes number of speaker elements he has in his delay tower arrays. So I think that's what we're going to look at. If you understood that question to be what I understood it as, Bob. So I opened up the design as well, and he's got 3 different ideas for positions of these delay towers. And in each of them, he has something like 8 lions, I believe. And from reading your book, we know that number of boxes per array is a function of target coverage angle and front to back distance ratio, as well as limitations by the speaker hardware display we can put in between the boxes, and obviously our budget. So should we talk about this first question? Does he have the right number of boxes?
So his numbers are 15 Leo and 4 lines. So that's and 2. So that's 17 boxes for the mains. I'm cutting things in half because it's left, right, obviously. And then for the delays, 6.
Okay, 6, not 8. Got it.
Okay. So that's what it would seem to indicate there. Okay. So if we just do it Leo to Leo and consider the lions to be fills, then it's 15 to 6, which is in the range of around closer to 3 to 1. Okay. So let's look at that. That means you've got 10 dB more capability in your mains, about 9 dB more capability in your mains than your delays. So let's take a look. In his case, let's look at the throw distances. The mains have to cover, am I able to draw? Let's see.
And Bob, you have his section view if you need it too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So basically the mains have to cover to there. They basically cover the flat ground, and then the delays are going to cover the grandstands. That seems to be the concept from what I understand. So if you look at this distances, 70 meters, 68 meters, compared to, are you going to cooperate? To 32 meters. Okay. So it's a little about a 2.5 to 1 ratio. Okay. So he's got about 2, what is it? 15 is about 2.8.
2.2.
Let's do the numbers now.
Okay.
Because we had 15 divided by 6 is 2.5. That's the ratio of boxes. And if we just call that 70, 32, 70 divided by 32, whoops, I did it backwards. 70 divided by 32 is 2.2. Yeah. So you're really close. If you had, if you did 14 and 7, now you're, what I'm talking about is giving up one box, one side and taking it to the other. Then you're at 2 to 1. So you're within a box of the correct number. So it seems like it's a pretty good number to me. Okay. Now, the next question that I was seeing was he had 3 options for the delay placement. Okay, and basically remember that the delays need to cover the grandstands, and I'll show you the section view to sort of get you that idea. Well, actually I won't. It's just going to be a straight line and a grandstand. You'll see that in a minute, but we're going to go through the 3 options. Okay. One is this inward, and here they are facing out. Another option is kind of centered, and then this option, oops, I already showed you that one. Oh, I have the same option twice, sorry. So that's,
oh, there you go. That was the third one.
Oh, was it?
Uh-huh.
There they are, way out here. So you basically have outside going in, inside going out, or the middle. Okay, this is the answer is the easiest one in the world. The middle is the way to go. Of course, who do you think hates the middle? The
lying guys.
Right? And all the people who think that sound is very important, but not important enough to do anything to help it, right? Okay. So of course, this is the right way. It has all the correct criteria for it. One, it means that it's on a straight line, so that the delay time will be the best case scenario in terms of holding for the largest percentage of the audience. So that's all good. Um, this is it's going to have. This is terrible. First of all, this you can't even go from here. The aim is wrong. This, if you do go here, you got to aim it way in here, because if you look at where this is, you don't have anywhere near the coverage you need. Look at your, like, whoa, baby, 3, 3, 6, 9. You're 12 dB down, and you still got audience that needs your help. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not viable. That's it's got to come way in, and it's got a real problem. Coming way in like that is just horrendous, because now look at that. That's the angle you need for uniformity.
It's a long way.
Well, and it's a maybe not quite that.
Now you're at almost a 45-degree angle with the mains.
Exactly. The delay time being correct here is tens of milliseconds wrong for there. I mean, it's just like it's crushed. The time solutions are horrendous. It's like having a ceiling speaker for an undermount delay, or a speaker on the back of the wall, and try to delay that. It's like no. So so then when we look at the inward solution, you're basically going to have the same thing except inverted. You're 3, 6, 9 dB down over there. So now you've got to bring it way out here. Did I miss it? I didn't even turn it enough. I've got to get stupider. Okay. Yeah. So that sort of gets you in the ballpark. Yeah. Now I'm kind of there. Okay. But you can see the kind of problem that's going to create. But if I have to choose outer versus this, here's my rating. Okay. Best case is center. Number 2 is, best case is centered on the grandstand. So the middle one. The second best is the inward facing out, and the please don't make me do it is the outward facing in.
Okay.
All right, now let's go to the section view. All right, so let's get rid of the subs. That just sort of confuses things. He has the mains covering everything, and that's not the worst thing, because it's only a 90-meter throw. It's not completely out of bounds. However, you see this fingernail, this pointy finger of doom.
That's pointy. Is there like a 0-degree splay in there or something?
Those are some half degrees. Okay. But what happens is, this is what I call shock. The array has too much shock in it. You've got these half degrees, and then you too quickly give way to the larger numbers. 1.5 doesn't seem that much different from a half degree. It's just 1 degree different. But when you think about it in ratio terms, it's 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So think of it as 3 times, which is, a 10 dB factor. So really, when you go from half a degree to 1 degree, that's a 2 to 1 change. And then by the time you reach 1.5, you're at 3 to 1 from where you started. And that's why you see that finger of doom. You don't really see it here. It doesn't seem like it should be a problem, but boom, look at that guy. This is what you don't want to see, is the hot, and then it gets cool, and then hot again.
Yep.
I would much rather see it cool down in the back than have a hot spot in the back. And partly because those hot spots, they make a frown face. It's not where doesn't just stay in one place because it's angled down, so it moves with the distance. It makes a frown. So,
and for those of you who have Bob McCarthy's book, there's a section called Smiles and Frowns.
Exacto. figure 11.22. Okay, so you have to watch out for too much shock in the array. And so there you go. So now I'm gonna then the other part I'm going to tell you is that basically you don't need, if you're going to do this, then you don't need the delays. You should just put it all in the friggin' mains. Okay, because if you're going to do the delays, well, here are the delays, and they are covering. Where are they? Right there. Okay, so now what you see is the delays are redundant. They're, in fact, and this is what flags me. This is a no-go situation where you have the main speakers actually got coverage above the delay speaker. Mm-hmm. I would not advise that. Basically, you want to have a transition. It's like, okay, we can play together for a while, but we should not play together for our entire lifespan.
Sure.
In a case, in an under balcony, yes, because an under balcony is supplemental. This is too large of a scale. The timing is too large. You want to give in and get a coverage, because these can be 10s and 20 milliseconds apart from each other. So you can't have them covering the same areas. They're too far apart. So you'll just have too much echo.
Okay.
So here is what I have.
So you're thinking, let's divide this up a little bit more. Let's give more custody to each side and not double up so much, not have so much overlap.
Exacto. So I'm taking the mains and I'm letting the mains dive down, you see? Okay? There's nobody. The mains basically are going to finish right there at the start of the incline. Mm-hmm. Okay? And I'm also going to take and make sure that there's not a lot of shock in the array. Okay? So you look at my numbers, there's no half degrees in here. Okay? And I'm moving 1 degree, then incrementally to 2, then gradually opening up to 5 degrees. Okay. And you should be 5 degrees. You're a mistake. Okay. So I'm finishing around the same area. I'm going to put his original array on there. Actually, I'm finishing a little lower, mm-hmm. because he's got a pretty large gap in there. So I feel like we can extend it lower, but we don't have to. I could ease up. But in any case, this is what I've got in the 5 minutes I spent on this.
Sure.
So here we go. Getting that away. Okay. So now what you see is I've got myself gradually dropping out, and I'm going to leave this guy room now. He's got room to work. Okay. And there's no place where it gets hot and then back to cold. So now you add my delay, and there's my delay. Mm-hmm. Which you can see, it's going to come in when things cool down. So the delay itself now is running this kind of range. You can see he's built to work that incline. Mm-hmm. He just climbs right up that wall. Okay. And now I'll put these guys together. Okay.
You set the delay between these already?
I didn't.
Okay.
At 4 kilohertz, you could set it to 1/4 millisecond. It'll, 4 kilohertz is literally 1/4 millisecond. And it's, if I were to do 100 hertz, you'd see they would fight each other. But at 4 kilohertz, it's the micro delays that matter, not the macro. That's the something. I just didn't have time to do that. But it doesn't matter in the prediction.
I was just wondering if that was going to change our perception of this prediction right now.
Well, let's notice this picture. Mm-hmm. Okay. And my delay mains are on a 11.1 delay. Okay, so there's my picture. I'm going to go now and change it by, this would be hilarious, but I'm going to change it by 1/8 of a millisecond, which is a half a wavelength at 4 kilohertz, 0.125. So it's essentially a polarity reversal. And so did that make any big change?
I can't remember the last prediction. I don't think so.
Exactly. Does it mean a different, I'll put I'm going to put a line in the hottest spot. See, there's the
Okay.
hottest spot, right?
Yep.
Okay. And now I will take that eighth of a millisecond out.
Same place. Okay.
Yeah. Here, I'll even reverse the polarity. So when you're looking at octave resolution and a 4 kilohertz, you just are not going to see anything happen. It's the wavelength is just too small.
Okay.
You're too much. You've got a full octave that you're working with. So we're kind of looking at an energy mass there. So basically, we're going to maintain. See how we're keeping the same level that we have at 30 meters is extended out to the 90-meter level, and that's then it cools down a little bit. Hey, can I live with that? I'm absolutely fine with that. Now, here are a couple comments to make. Number one, looking back at the plan view, this is a narrow speaker for delay. You see, even aimed correctly, I am 360 dB down, 3, 6, 9 dB down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you change this speaker to a Lion speaker,
Something wider, huh?
well, and you can go with a bigger, a larger quantity of Lion, but you remember that you have a 2.5 to 1 ratio already. You have an 8 dB range ratio working in your favor, so you don't have to run the same level of speaker when you're running an 8 dB range ratio. Now I can put in a Lion W, which is wide as can be, and say, hey, check that out. Kaboom.
There we go.
Now I'm straight zeros across that thing. Okay. And if we're going to just go with the best case scenario, give it to me. Whoops. Let's move this guy right in the middle of that shape.
Mm-hmm.
Take that. Kaboomo. Yeah, baby. Okay.
Nice.
So now we've got that totally soaked, and nobody is not covered. The grandstands are completely in the custody of that speaker, and nobody cries.
Everyone's going to get to hear Gianmarco so amazing now.
Exactly.
So, Bob, let me see if I can summarize a couple things here. So the first questions we had were, are the delay towers in the right place? Do they have enough boxes? So are they in the right place? Of those three options, we went with the center option, maybe a little bit to the side. Basically, we want to be in the center of the coverage area as much as possible. Anywhere to either side is going to give us more timing errors and doesn't match the shape as well. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. And then a question about, do we have enough boxes? We looked at the distance ratio that the mains cover compared to the distance ratio that the delays cover. And then we looked at the number of boxes per array between the mains and the delays. And we saw that they have a similar ratio, distance ratio versus boxes ratio. And you said, yes. So you do have a good number of boxes in that array in terms of power scaling. Yes.
And then we consider that if you had you could do the Lions are basically 3 dB down from the Leos, so that's a 0.7 factor right there. There's 1.4. And so then if you went with 7 or 8, if you went with 8 Lion, 8 times 0.7 is 5.6. Now you're in the same region as you were with 6 times 1, if you follow me.
Yes.
You see that math? Okay, if you
if
you consider a Lion a 0.7 Leo, then to reach the equivalent of 6 Leo, you have to have 8 to 9 Lion.
Yeah, so could I also say that since the Lion are 30% less powerful, then we could make up that 30% by adding more speakers. Is that what you said, or am I saying something?
That's exactly what I said. So basically, it's a 30% discount in power, so you need a 30% upcharge in quantity.
Got it.
So now what I've done is I've placed a Lion W again at the inner one, the one that might be allowed by the lighting people or video people or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And see, instead of remember how it was too narrow before? So if you did get stuck with this compromised location, then you having the wider speaker helps you. I've gone too far. I'm going to go with the 40 degrees. And so, boom, I've shot pretty nicely onto that shape again. That's as good as you're going to get. But that's a way better than with that speaker that's too narrow. Okay. So you're all in bounds there. And one of the things about these situations is this is a non-hostile environment. You're outdoors here, I think. I don't see any walls. So you want to go ahead and allow spill rather than have things be precise in the horizontal. You can get away with it. If I can keep the edge only 2 or 3 dB down, as opposed to 6 dB down, I'll take it if I don't have a wall right there.
Sure, we'd prefer to be overcovered on the edge than undercovered.
Right, when you're in a outdoor environment, just like trim the fat.
Sure. So to wrap up, why don't you tell us one thing you're looking forward to in 2019?
Well, in 2019, I'm looking forward to going back to Roskilde again. We have a 5-year deal with the partnership with the Roskilde Festival. So we'll go back there and we're going to refine the designs a little bit. And they're moving some of the venues and changing things. They're always looking to improve and change things. So I'm looking forward to that. I've got some interesting installations in China coming up. Basically, I'm looking forward to a highly. I've already got 100,000 miles of travel booked.
Oh my God!
Which gets me to April.
Don't try to call me. I'll be on an airplane.
Yes.
All right, Bob. Well, thank you so much for your time and sharing these designs with us today. And I hope you have a great 2019. Let's do this again maybe in 2020.
Okay, sir. Thanks much.
Thanks, Bob.
Sound Design Live is supported by Chris, Dave, DC Sound App, Ellis, Sinqui, Joel, Learn Stage Lighting, Michael, and Roadie Free Radio. You can start supporting Sound Design Live today for as little as $1 over at patreon.com/sounddesignlive. Sound Design Live.